Hey, I'm live. You're live. We're all live. Even if you're watching the recording, you're still live. Except I'm not. So for replays, it's a lie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was misleading. All right, let me do the usual. It's the job that I need to get a producer for. I wonder if Jill be willing to be my producer. Probably not. She always ends up having stuff she has to do at lunch. I clearly just need a producer, though. We gotta turn this like into an actual production. That's what we should do. Hey, Monique, how are you doing? You're the first person here. Look at that. It's just how you win, right? All right, comment. Everyone. Oops, that's not how you spell everyone. I need to get my nails redone. They're getting long, and it's making it so I can't type. Lunch with Al and my 2024 predictions. I actually thought of this topic, I kid you not, about 5 minutes ago. Okay, actually it's 12:07, so I guess I thought of it like 10 minutes ago because I was all ready to go, and I realized my lipstick had all worn off, and I had like this weird sort of like mustache looking thing that was all that was left. Oh, handy, cool. What phase are you at, Monique? That you're watching? Have you published? Are you looking for new like how to start? Are you looking for new ways to expand? Was it just like a general video that you found interesting? I always like knowing where people are in their journey. So yeah, but I think 2024 is going to be a year. I think it's going to change a lot of people's journeys. So I'm excited about what it's going to bring and the changes it's going to make. I think there's going to be big changes in how we advertise. Some better for the better, some for the worse. For the worse, some for worse. I think that authors are going to learn some new skills, and perhaps like maybe new companies that offer services will start to become more popular as we change the way that we market our books. I think one of the big things that we're going to see, to be honest, is a continual decline in Facebook, but we're going to continue to see an increase in Instagram. So it's going to involve more graphically enticing content that we're going to have to make for that platform. Threads and Mastodon are federating, so that might cause Threads to actually become relevant. That would be cool. So that's something I think that might happen. Oh, that's awesome, Monique. Oh, okay. Self-publishing with Dale because of the 6-hour time difference. Book 107. Nice work. 100 Club for the win. I'm up in there too, although I've slowed down a bit, but I'm back on the horse, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think about I think for fiction books I'm at 125 or something like that. New pen name, new genre. Who said that? Let's see if I can get Facebook to social me. Oh, Zeri. That's awesome, Zeri. Congrats. And Monique's on YouTube. For those of you on Facebook and don't see her comments, you can also view on YouTube too. I'm always down with that. So yeah, I think we're going to see a shift in social media. I think that like Facebook is still the juggernaut. Make no bones about it. They still have over 3 times the users that TikTok has, and TikTok's just sort of like in continual hot water. But TikTok works. Like organic content on TikTok works, whereas organic content on Facebook doesn't really work. For Facebook to work, you've got to do paid advertising. But I feel like we've moved into a phase with TikTok where we can't ignore it anymore. There's so many authors that are doing so well with TikTok, just with purely organic content. And yes, it does burn. I actually don't know anyone who didn't eventually burn out on TikTok, but that just means we need to figure out ways of outsourcing good content or reusing content and stuff like that, getting everything done. I think it's just got to happen. Hey, Jillybug, what's the new genre by the way, Zeri? I'm always interested in hearing what people are trying out next. But really, the big thing I think that TikTok is going to drive is direct sales. That's where everything is moving towards direct sales. And I also think like TikTok's appealing to a younger generation, right? For a lot of us, we've been advertising to an older generation on Facebook for quite some time. And the younger generations really aren't picking up on Facebook that much. In fact, if you ever go to build an ad on Facebook and you look at your audience size, say you build an audience of all women over 35 years old, or actually all women in the United States 18 plus, which on Instagram, if you do it in the Facebook ad manager, that's going to give you around 120 million people. And as soon as you turn off Instagram, that number is going to drop down to 80 million people. About 50 million, 45 to 50 million women that are available that you can target with Facebook ads are only using Instagram. They're not on Facebook. I believe the number is roughly the same for men. So it is really changing, I think, how we're going to be doing our ads and how we're going to be doing our targeting. Aaron on demand should talk about ManyChat. I'm not familiar with ManyChat. That sounds interesting. Hey, Troy and Carmen. How are you guys doing? Troy says direct sales Shopify. Shopify is one of the places you could be doing your direct sales, but it is not the only place you could be doing your direct sales. You could be doing on Square. You could be having your own WooCommerce site. You could be doing it on Wix. And you could even be doing your direct sales around Etsy. Etsy's an entirely possible, like a viable location to be doing sales on. Etsy has some benefits that the others don't have. Like you can actually run ads on Etsy. Etsy has a whole suggested system where people are looking for certain things. It's going to suggest products from other shops. However, Shopify has that now in the Shop app on the phone. So it's kind of picking up some of those angles as well. It might be that Etsy moves more and more into like direct product sales of a variety of types, while Shopify moves more into like an Etsy marketplace kind of thing. You never know. It could go both ways. Women amateur sleuth. That sounds interesting. In like contemporary time frame, historical. How's that going to? What's driving the change too? I think a lot of people think about doing. Next year I'm going to do a new genre. I'm going to wrap up this series and try a new thing, new genre, new pen name. That happens a lot. I know a number of authors who are doing that, and sometimes you just need to, for no other reason than you just need a change, right? Like you're just done with where you were. So I totally get that. But I think we're gonna. My prediction right now is that in 5 years, the retailers will not be all that important anymore when it comes to at least to established authors. You establish yourself on the retailers, and then from there you move into direct sales once you have a name for yourself. Not to toot my own horn too much, but maybe just a little bit. It was 2 years ago. I was at NINC, Novelists Incorporated. For those of you who don't know, they have a conference in St. Petersburg, Florida, every September. And we were talking about the next big thing, and I said the next big thing in publishing is going to be a sea change as big as the one when the Kindle came out and we got to bypass the publishers and self-publishing became a thing. Whatever happens next is going to be as big as that. We've had a lot of incremental changes. We've had a lot of small little things. A lot of people kind of like trying new stuff, feeling things out, and whatever is happening next is going to be big. And I think what it's really going to be is small stores. So authors banding together and putting together small stores so they can get some of that like crossover between authors across one store versus your Shopify store just sort of being an island unto itself. And then, of course, dedicated Shopify stores. I think it's going to be those two things are going to be the big factor. I think the authors are going to be very careful if they enter into agreements with other authors. They're going to need to have good, solid contracts and understandings of responsibilities and payout schedules and all sorts of things. So be careful about that. Don't just go willy-nilly into some agreements you may find yourself regretting, stuff like that. So me, urban fantasy with a couple of spin-off characters from the Paracozies. Oh, that's cool, Troy. I like the sounds of that. Subscriptions will expand a lot on Ream and Patreon, maybe direct subscription inclusive releases. It's Jill that said that. Yeah, I agree actually with with what Jill was saying here. Shockingly, Jill and I are in agreement. I don't know about Patreon. I think Patreon may fall by the wayside. Their interface is just too clunky, unless they do some sort of really big overhaul that works better for grouping content. Because right now it's just sort of like a big stream of stuff. It's not a way for people to really like delve into the history that the Patreon page has had. They don't have a good system for that. But yeah, subscription stuff like Ream will be one of the other things. But whatever it is, it's going to be authors getting much more direct access to their readers. And that's something I think that authors really need to be thinking about, is that there's a lot of benefits having direct access to our readers, to our customers, that we don't get right now from the retailers. The retailers keep all that customer information from us. And like on Amazon, for example, every seller on Amazon, except for authors, gets the customer information from their sale. Authors don't get that. We don't have the customer information. We can't reach out to them directly or create like a sales funnel where we try to sell them other books that we have of the series. But when you have your own store, you get to do that. And you have to start thinking of read through less as like sort of this thing where you sort of hope that the reader organically discovers you and all your stuff, your other series and all that, something where you actually drive that with them, you market to them. And you might be like type of thing where 15 days after they download a bundle from you, you send them a coupon code for another bundle, or you send them coupon codes for swag. Like, that's a cool thing, right? Someone buys an ebook from you, you can now you can just contact that person and be like, hey, I've got this cool new mug that I made, would you like to have it? Because and you have to be careful, of course, the legalities of like, make sure they have to opt into your mailing list to do that sort of marketing to them. But if it's sort of direct product marketing related to the thing they already bought, then you can usually get away with them not having to opt it in for that sort of thing. But if they opt out, you should respect it. So depends very much on your jurisdiction. But there's a lot of stuff like that to consider that we don't get to do right now. So I'm most excited about that for 2024. I think that basically every author, maybe not every author next year, but I think a lot of authors next year, and every author really looking to expand the business side. Because a lot of authors really aren't interested so much in the business side of things. They're interested in just writing books and being creative. But some of us actually really enjoy the business aspect of being an author as much as the writing aspect of being an author. And I think that for people who like that, I think they're all in the next year or so going to have some sort of direct sales thing that we're going to try, be that Kickstarter or our own store of some sort, or maybe banding together with some other authors and trying to do direct sales through a group store or something. I think it's going to be the schmizzle. American historical romance was taking another nosedive. Yeah, I've found that too. I know a couple of authors who do American historical romance. That's what Zeri was saying here, and it has been hard for people doing that. So I get that entirely. I think I like the making money part of the business. I don't think so, Larry, because Amazon has let us we've been able to build these stores on Amazon for years, and it hasn't changed their business practices at all. So I honestly don't think so. I could be wrong, but I really feel like one of the big things too is like after you do direct sales and you can actually get like you can write a bunch of copy and have a bunch of images, and you do direct sales, you can see which images and which copy converts. You're like, wow, if I do this information for Amazon, I can be so much more profitable. But right now we're just basically sending Amazon a bunch of traffic and having no idea, I mean, unless you want to get crazy and make like all the possible combinations yourself and give them all their own tracking codes, you're not going to be able to really tell which things are working. And if you do go that route where you make 16 different ads for every single audience, for every single product that you want to advertise, you're going to drown in data. You almost have to hire someone to examine the data, because it'll be a lot to go through all of that. That's one of the reasons why I do dynamic creative, because otherwise it's just too hard. But on the flip side, if we had like the Pixel on Amazon and you can actually track your conversions, then you can run dynamic creative and know exactly what's working. It'd be amazing. That would like make my day. if we could do that. That would change the game so much. Um, I think part of this too is, and not everybody thinks about it in this way, but I think that Amazon, in a way, they don't have our best interests at heart. Um, I mean, I know that we all sort of like know that, like cynical, haha, yeah, they're the big corporation. They don't have our best interests at heart, but they really don't, because their goal with us really as authors is to make money off of us via AMS. Um, and they're not super concerned, and also like having us drive people to Amazon.com so they can sell them other things and to keep their value up. They're not really here for us per se, because Amazon is pay to play. They took out, basically, on our product pages for our books, they took out every non-paid listing effectively on the page. So nobody sees anything on our product pages anymore that wasn't paid to be there. Our product pages are just purely advertising platforms for them. Yeah, I agree. It's too much work to build a store there for the return you get. I've worked with a couple of people who tried to run ads. Show that. That tried to run ads to their stores, and we find that they don't convert as well as just going to the product page. So I think just because the Amazon stores they don't look that good, and they're not super well organized. They don't have enough filtering and stuff like that. At least the ones I've seen never seem to have it. I've not spent the time myself to build. I mean, I tried to build an Amazon store and got one made like 7 years ago. They might have improved, but whenever I go buy things on Amazon stores, it's like, I'm like, okay, I was looking at this particular vendor for a product, and I saw this product. I want to buy some other ones like it. And I went to their store, and I can't even find the product that I saw. I have that happen so much whenever I go to Amazon product stores. But if you think about, like, okay, let's say your AMS ads are working super good, and you're getting a sale or a full read every 10 clicks, and it's a $3.99 book, which means that you make $2.70 and Amazon makes $1.30 off of that ad, or off of that book sale. Well, 10 clicks, let's just say you're getting pretty cheap clicks. Let's say 10 clicks at 30 cents a click. That's $3. They're making $3 off of you for the advertising cost. And then they're only making $1.30 off the sale, right? Like, just think of that they are making more money from authors from us paying Amazon to advertise our books on Amazon's platform, so that Amazon can also then take 30% of the royalty, and we're doing it. Like, it's kind of nuts, right? That they get money on both ends of the transaction, from the author and from the reader. And honestly, in a way, it's kind of genius on their part, but it sucks for us. And that's one of the reasons why I think that once we all really start thinking about that, it's going to become a no-brainer that we're all just going to want to try and sell direct. And there's going to be some growing pains as we figure out how to do it. It's not like, oh, you open up a Shopify store and you just make money. You just print money. Some people do, some people don't. But there are things that we're all learning collectively, and we're going to get better and better at doing this. And we're going to get readers to be more and more comfortable buying books this way. That's going to be another really big part of it. And Jody says, we put a ton of efforts and a lot of traffic to the website, where they may spend some money on our products, but we'll spend money on the website. Exactly, yeah. So Amazon's just like, wee, it's amazing for us. And I got to admit, like, I'm not a full-on Amazon hater. Like, Amazon has created, by and large, they created this industry. I mean, they weren't the first to have this sort of thing, have the concept of the Kindle and ebooks and stuff like that. But they're the ones that took it to the next level and made this industry exist. So to that effect, I do actually like appreciate what they did, but I just like, I'm not under any illusion that they're doing it entirely altruistically either. They're a public company. They've got to like, be zealous and make money for their shareholders, which is a whole other conversation, right? Yeah, they are double dipping. You're absolutely right, Monique. I like that, evil genius. Are you saying that's Amazon? Amazon's the evil genius? So I'm curious, what are some of you guys' predictions for 2024? Do you have any ideas of what you think might happen? Or do you have any big plans yourself for 2024? Like predictions for yourself that you're gonna focus on taking care of? for me, it's to get all the books I've been working on out. This year has been a year of getting back into writing for me, after writing a lot in prior years, and quite frankly, burning out. Um, and now I'm enjoying writing a lot more again. I look forward to my writing time. Um, I look forward to publishing again and like interacting with my readers and all that cool stuff. I'm stoked about it. So for me, that's my big thing, is getting back um, into that. And I've done 3 Kickstarters now, but no Kickstarter I've done thus far. Well, I guess no fiction Kickstarter I've done thus far has been for a release. The only release Kickstarter I did was for the 3rd edition of Help My Facebook Ads Suck. But it's kind of a different thing, right? Like, it doesn't give you the same opportunities for bundles and upsells and packaging that fiction does. So I'm super excited about doing Kickstarter launches for fiction. And Jill's going to be doing some too. She's been planning some out, and I'm super excited for Jill, because the one she's thinking about doing is for the first series she ever self-published, which is one of my favorite things she's ever written. And she's going back over it and rehoning it and going to release it. So big excite there. So Jody says, not a hater, but I don't want to pour my funds into making the money. Yeah, I agree 100%. Making ads now pulled out of KU. I love it. And I won't tell if you just decide to do some testing running your store while you're still in KU. Mum's the word, right? If authors want to like test out and get a store set up and running while they're still in KU, I think it'd be nice if us other authors just didn't tell anyone if we noticed that was happening. Because you don't want to be like, yeet everything out of KU, try to build a direct sales store, and then, because that can take a while. I mean, technically you have to, and you should. You really should. You should pull everything from KU before you launch your store. Absolutely. But if you don't, I won't tell anyone. I promise. Yes, you are, honey. Don't I am me. You are. All right. Yeah, I've really enjoyed doing Kickstarters. I love Kickstarters because it gives your launch an end. Because so often, we go out with a bang. We've got like this new release and we're like talking about it. We got newsletters, we're doing shares and all that. And then it just sort of just slowly fizzles away, and just the activities around launch decrease. But Kickstarter gives you that final hurrah that you can do with releases, where you're just like, we're almost at a stretch goal. If we can get a little bit higher, get your friends to back, we can get this cool thing that we came up with, or something like that. That's the sort of thing that you don't get. You don't get it otherwise. So I think it's a big deal. She's my best ever. Let's see, who said this? That's Yasmin. Wait, was that Yasmin? That's L. Eveland. She's been my best ever. I expect 24 to be better as I move into writing more contemporary MM romance. Dip my toes into direct sales. I'm going to learn more next year. Books are in KU, but I release them early if people order direct with extra content. That's cool. I like that. That's another option too, right? Build your store, and then do your, have all your print stuff on there and everything like that, and then do your new releases in your store for the first 2 weeks or something like that. Absolutely. That is totally a good way to go. One pen. You can actually just yeet books out of KU, Monique. You can just email them and say, like, yank it. And they will do that usually pretty quickly. So Yasmin says she's going back wide this weekend and is planned to do major sales for each month. I don't have a release in 24. Yes, do that, right? Like, plan out a cadence for the year for your releases, and then fill the gaps with sales, or do box sets, whatever in those spaces, so you keep up like a regular pulse. Because for most of us, releases are an important part of our income stream. You can't just, it's hard to go on backlist alone. Entirely possible, but also hard. That is a thing. When your household is reliant on the writing income, that definitely lights a fire, doesn't it, Jody? That's how I wrote 44 books in 1 year. It's like, I don't know how long this is going to last. I'm going to make hay while the sun's up, because I did not want to go back and work for the man. Oh, I like that. Take a nap most days and go back to the tiki bar at Nink. Everything else is day by day. Yeah, we're going to be at Nink this year. Jill and I and Eva, and we're really looking forward. She's actually going to St. Pete's in January to the Tradewinds Hotel, just to like hang out and be not in Massachusetts in the wintertime for a while. I like that, Monique. Yeah, this is something I never did, but I kind of wish I had. Back in the day, I was releasing so much that there was a book coming out basically every 2 weeks. But that's gonna be my plan going forward. Even for the stuff that's in KU, it'll be available first on my website. And I'm thinking I might not do pre-orders in KU at all. All the pre-order in Amazon at all the pre-order stuff will only be on my website, and then when it comes out, it'll just be out on Amazon. You know. Isn't Reliant? Okay, I was kind of wondering about that. I'm like, fortunately, your household's Reliant. That seemed like a strange statement, but I have met your partner in chaos. Yes, that's right. I mean, I thought for a second, like, what does this mean? But I just rolled with it. Yes, your partner in chaos is amazing. I need more art from your partner in chaos, though. That would be. Then I can like do an even bigger sticker order. I have that one just about. I think it's ready to order. Jody's husband did a cool sticker for me. Well, actually, a cool piece of art, and I'm turning into a sticker because everything should be a sticker. And then you can stick it on things. I've also made a plan, a decision for myself that I'm accepting the fact that I'm a notebook person. I've been worked in so many jobs where everything being digital and online, so like that's really important. But when it comes to like just me and wanting to like track information for myself, I'm just like all about notebooks. I just like writing things in notebooks, and I feel like the act of writing things down it makes it so I can remember them better. And also just like the fact that like it's just always there on my computers. There's so many apps and programs where I can put things that I tend to forget where I made notes about things. So that's one of the things I'm going to do. Either Friday or Sunday this week, I'm going to go out and buy myself a bunch of notebooks. I'm going to have like personal notebooks, client notebooks, software development notebooks. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to have like all these cute notebooks all like laid out on my desk with all the info in them. That was I know it seems like a weird thing, right? But I've realized that I am not only a person who wants to collect cute notebooks. I'm a person who wants to actually use the cute notebooks too, because those are two different groups of people. I am not a planner person, though. I've discovered I don't like the structure. I like the free form of the notebook, and so I've learned that about myself. I'm sunk into it. I'm ready for it. So 2 pen names. Could release them, but they'd be sitting there and you won't be back to the end of January. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Then you might as well just wait for them to come out. Nope. I'll keep that in mind. Maybe I'll send him a couple of images and see if he has something, if he gets inspired to draw something. That's all. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how, going to school and growing up, we're sort of like shoehorned into a particular way of doing things. We're taught like this is how we're doing it in this class, and this is how you're going to structure yourself and learn and note take and whatnot. And it kind of takes us years to figure out how we actually need to like access information and store. And it also can change. Like if you're doing something where where it's always collaborative, but there's always a team who needs access to the information, then of course the information needs to be accessible to the team online, or if you're in person, it's got to be on a big whiteboard or something like that. But if it's just you, then yeah, whatever works best for you for organizing information and try all the things and see which one works best. That's how I roll. For those who move direct to Sample Store is a major effort. Sales tax and VAT is my current project. I have a policy, and it's my personal policy for things like sales tax and VAT. So it does depend on where you live. Like, for example, if you live in a state with no digital product sales tax, then you don't have to pay sales tax in your state. If you do live in a state that has that, then you have to pay sales tax for anybody living in your state. But most states actually have a threshold where for you to like Massachusetts, I think it's like if you have to do something like $10,000 worth of business in sales into Massachusetts before they're going to want you to start sending them tax money for that. So that's the thing. And then I'm also kind of like, why am I the EU's tax collector, right? Why is it incumbent upon me to collect tax for the EU, or why should I be collecting GST for Canada? Like I don't live there. I'm not under their jurisdiction. I mean, okay, I'm kind of under Canada's jurisdiction because I'm a Canadian citizen. But why is it incumbent on me, the business person, to bear the brunt of this cost and effort in collecting tax for them? And quite frankly, I refuse. I refuse to collect tax for foreign governments. You know, if they want to tax their citizens for what their citizens do on the internet, then they can go for it. But I'm not doing it for them. I just don't care. That is, by the way, an argument to use Etsy, though, because Etsy will collect and remit all the tax for you. So that's an angle you could think about with that. Used to work at Michael's, has so many notebooks. Oh my God, blank looking at me. I like that. All right. Who doesn't own a cell phone? Oh, that's interesting, Zeri. Wow, no cell phone and you handwrite. That's crazy. I'm blown away. Order of notebooks, and you really do try to use them. Does that mean you do use them, or you try and you don't? Because like you could try to use them and be somewhat successful. You could try to use them and be 0% successful. Like I'm kind of curious where you fall in there. Wait. How can you be 62, Yasmin? Is that actually a picture of you? Because you look like you're 25 in that picture. That's well, hot damn. Hashtag goals. I'm 62, didn't have computers when I was in school and college. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I was born in 77, so that's when computers were just becoming a thing in school. And they were Apple IIe's back in the day. Oh, that's awesome, Judith. I love that. And that way, you know, the great thing, power goes out, your notebooks still work. You know, the computer you had or the online OneDrive account that you had, you know, it goes away, and you know, I don't know, 70 years from now, your grandkids can find all the notes and stuff like that, right? Like that's one of the things I love about the paper is that it's much easier for these paper notes to survive me and become part of a legacy. I've been thinking about that a lot lately because I'm watching a lot of videos on Tolkien and all these different characters and histories where these like basically Tolkien scholars, which is actually like a thing, are actually like they reference all this content that Tolkien put together. And I'm thinking like the fact that he wrote all of this down in letters and notebooks and whatnot makes it available. Whereas most of what we do now, you know, is going to cease to exist in 10 to 15 years because wherever we're putting it, it won't be there. I learned that with Microsoft the other day. I've used Microsoft OneDrive now since it came out, back when it was called SkyDrive. And I want to say that this was back around 07, 08. And then just this 2 weeks ago, our renewal failed because we had a credit card that got stolen. Well, it was being used by people that weren't us, but we still had the card. You know what I mean? So the number got stolen, and so they got declined. And I tried to get it fixed, so I get my OneDrive back, and I would buy it, and it wouldn't actually, what I purchased wouldn't reflect in my quotient, and nothing worked. My editor couldn't save things, like everything was broken, and they're like 72 hours, you know. And I'm like, well, they could just delete this, and they just would not give a shit. Like it doesn't matter to them. And I realized that I need to become much more diligent about collecting my own information and storing it. Damn, Yasmin, you look amazing. I love it. I use some of them. They might get a few pages written in them. Well, that's good, Jody. Apple IIe in schoolhood. Yeah, Oregon Trail. Who died of dysentery? Yep, Zork. You totally would have played Zork in the early 80s. Absolutely. A little text-based joy there. My grands are growing, so Messenger is all they get from me. Yeah, that's true. It's kind of wild to think that, right? We need to write more things down on paper. This is the comment about Zork. Since we now have more people on YouTube, I've got to be better about actually showing the comments between the two platforms so everybody can see what we're talking about. I actually, I learned to code on a VIC-20, but my first computer I ever used was the Commodore 64. I'm pretty sure the Commodore 64 predates my use of the Apple IIe. And then shortly afterwards, probably like I remember using the Apple IIe in grade 2. It was the first time we used it. And then I was coding on a VIC-20. I don't know, a couple of years later than that, my mother bought one. Like I don't know, she bought it used somehow, and I learned how to code on that, which was terrible because we had no tape driver backup or anything. So you'd write code, and then if it got turned off, it was gone. So if someone's like, "Oh, this thing's in the way," and they unplug it, you're like, "Well, there it goes. There's everything I just worked on, gone." Love it. You know, Judith, this is big smart. This is I was as I was talking, I was thinking I need to print out way more of this information. I don't even own print copies of all my books, right? I mean, I own print copies of most of them, but I also ship a lot of them are just in boxes and I ship them out when people order them. I don't really have like my own copy of most of a lot of my books, and I really need to correct that. If they can script, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Monique. Tandy, yeah. My first real computer, like sort of what you would consider to be a modern computer running Windows 3.1, was a Tandy 1000 TL2, or maybe it was a TL3. I think it was a TL2. But I'm pretty sure it was a 10 megahertz processor, which means it has to be a TL3. I was looking them up just the other day because I was feeling nostalgic. And if you want to buy one of those things, if you want to buy one with like all the trimmings, the monitor and everything, you're literally still looking at like $500 to $1,000 plus shipping on top of that. One in like primo condition could easily run you like $2,000 or $3,000 for one of those Tandys. It makes you really think about like all the old computer hardware that we just sort of throw away. You're like, damn, I hold on to this. Sure, some of it will be worthless, but some of it could actually be worth a ton. But I also feel like I don't know if people feel nostalgic about like a lot of computers that they have now, like we used to back in the day when it was like this cool, exciting new thing, you know? Yeah, no, you're right, Judith. I also actually had that sort of thing happen where that sort of thing could take out a whole computer. Lucky she knew how to drive a stick. I did not learn how to drive on a stick, but I could do it because I had a friend with a 1959 Pontiac. This has just turned into nostalgia time, right? It was a 59 Pontiac and had a 3 on the tree. So it was a manual, but you shifted on the column, and it was down, back, and up into second gear, and then down into third, and then forward and down into reverse. And when it was really cold out, that down, back, and up like took a lot of juice to do that. Oh, you mean cursive? Yeah, like my daughter can't read cursive, but I'm kind of okay with that. Like cursive, I don't feel like is super important in the modern world. But they also don't teach kids how to type properly in school either. I'm like, look, if you're not going to teach them cursive, teach them to type properly, for goodness sakes. Pardon me. I love that we're all a bunch of old computer nerds here. This is actually really awesome. I'm like, you guys are my crowd. I love this. Yeah. Good old compacts. I did not have a compact probably until the mid 90s. No, late 90s. Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are worth money. Oh, that's so cool. I want to go to your school's museum. Brother word processor. Oh my God, that's hardcore. My dad used to be a funeral director, and he did all of the printed materials, and he did so much of it on a Brother word processor. Totally. Yeah, I don't get standards. I mean, the first automatic transmission that could shift faster and more efficiently than a human was made in 1956. And since then, a properly tuned automatic is better on gas and better on parts than a human. So there's not really, in my mind, a good reason for a human to do it. And you can get shiftable automatics if you want to be in control. You know, you can totally still do that. That was in response to this comment from Judith. Modern keyboards in Japan, yeah. There's a lot of people that actually love the older IBM style keyboards, and there's a whole industry of like finding old IBM clicky keyboards and then refurbing them. 69 Chevy SS. I've actually driven that car. Not that car, but you know, that car. Yep. Dial-up, AOL. Jill and I met on MSN Messenger on dial-up. Windows 95 had their own actually, it wasn't even MSN Messenger yet. It was just MSN chat rooms. But we met on the MSN network in a writing chat room in 1996. So yeah, way back. Amstrad. Wow. Look at all this stuff. Had to buy my Mustang as a stick. I get that. I kind of get that. Oh, that's really cool that you still have the first manual typewriter. I love it. Taught my middle son how to build a computer. Yeah. Oh, now you have to get his opinion when you build a new one. Like, you mean like you ask his advice to make sure you're doing everything right? That's actually really cool. I like that. I like that cycle there. Born in 66, had computers in our high school. Okay, that makes sense that you would totally have that. Dun, dun, dun. Took every available sport and rodeo with no time to learn academic stuff. That's a lot. Yeah. That's cool too. Wait, who said this? This is Gina, Term Papers. My record for typing back when I was younger was 120 words a minute. I don't think I can type that fast anymore. Because the funny thing is, writing as an author, you rarely type fast, right? Like, if you're writing 30 words a minute, you're cruising. Because like, what is 30 words a minute? Works out to 30 times 20. That's like 600 words in 20 minutes, which is probably on the faster side for most authors. Very few authors are going to get up over like 50, 60 words a minute in just regular writing because there's so much stopping and thinking, right? Like, we're just not plowing through words like that. Jumping over love dial-up. My phone line stayed busy. Oh, Monique, you came this way. You have a very different career. Oh, you're in the background in that one. I get it. Sorry. I had a moment of confusion there. Don't mind me, just a senior moment. Grad present from high school. Typewriter. Oh, oof, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we think of writing class was very different. But I am glad I learned how to type properly and learned how to touch type. Although I didn't really learn, I learned the basics of touch typing in school, but I didn't get good at it until I was online in chat rooms. And then typing fast was important because when we were in a writing chat room and everybody in there could type, and it just like, it was reading like a courtroom stenographer was just like 3 courtroom stenographers were just pumping information into the chat. So if you want to be involved in the conversation, you had to type fast and well. Because if you didn't type well in the writing chat room, you get flamed, which luckily writers have kind of gotten over because we're like, it's the internet. We get edited enough. But yes, that's where we got good. Hunt and peck. That's not bad though, Monique. That's still fast enough. 40 words a minute. Wait, you're going back and forth now. You're in both places. Let's see. Jasmine, I took typing 3 times in college. That's typing and no interest in business. Yeah, no one wants the business part. Ugh. Dropped out of each other. That's hilarious. Oh man, we got way off topic here today, but this was fun. This was like a fun little journey down memory lane. I think probably if we have to have a takeaway from this, though, the takeaway is definitely that we need to all think about, like, where do we store all of our books, all of our notes and everything like that, and are they going to be around after we and or all of our computers no longer function? Like even if you're not worried about, like, passing away anytime soon, are the companies that you do business with, where you've got your data stored in the computers that you're using, will they work? Will they be accessible in 15, 20, 30 years? Because it's getting to the point now where, like, if you had stuff burned to a CD, it's getting a little bit tricky to actually find CD and DVD readers to get your information off. In 20 years, it could actually be kind of difficult to find a place that could read that information if you backed it up there. And the same can be true for whatever you're backing up now. In paper, as long as it doesn't get destroyed by some means, paper is always going to work. And to be honest, it's actually a lot more resilient than other things. Like, you could take a stack of paper and throw in and bring an axe down on it, and you could put it all back together afterward. Hard drive, not so much, right? So, or stick to, yeah, or that. Jill rejects paper. But all of the stuff that I wrote when I was a lot younger, and I wrote it all longhand, or I printed it out on my cool dot matrix printer I had, I still have it all. I still have binders with everything I wrote as a teenager. I'll never read it again because, dear God, no. But it's all still there. But this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Clay Tappets for a 100K novel. That sounds like something that like some sort of art student would do in school. They would like, I don't know, write out Hamlet on clay tablet or something like that. Tablets, clay tablets. It's going to take more than one. They do seem to last, don't they? Several. That's even better than clearly what we need is we need to chisel our novels into granite. That's where we got to go. That's next. Chiseled into granite. Oh, I'm like all out of focus. Come on, focus. There we go. Sometimes if you have to give it like multiple things at the same distance to focus on. Our cats peed on your paper 20 years ago. Yeah, but it doesn't smell anymore, so it's fine. And I can like photocopy it and then have non-P versions. I thought you were gonna faint. That's funny. All right, folks. I have a call coming up in just a few minutes. So I do need to jet and get myself ready for that. But it has been a slice talking to all of you. I enjoyed this conversation quite a bit. It was good fun. I will see you guys next week. Next week, we will be T minus what? We'll be T minus 4 days from Christmas. That'll be exciting, right? It'll be like, what are you doing for your books for Christmas? What are you giving your book? What presents are you giving your books for Christmas? We'll do something like that. I'm sure we'll talk more about next year and all the cool things that are coming as well. And apparently, based on everything we just talked about, the apocalypse is coming, so we all need to print everything out. That's, I think, the other determination that we've made. But I'll see you guys around and have a fabulous end of your week. Ciao. Wait, I have to find my mouse. Where'd it go? Here we are. All right. Bye.